let's look at Lebanon now, because also steady resistance on the Lebanon front. We just found out when we were on air that Hezbollah has claimed, has acknowledged the assassination of 𝐓𝐡𝐞 𝐄𝐥𝐞𝐜𝐭𝐫𝐨𝐧𝐢𝐜 who was a historic leader of Hezbollah, going back before Hezbollah to Islamic Jihad operations in 1983 against the Marine Corps barracks, United States Marine Corps barracks, and operation that wiped out the CIA's Middle East station in an operation. Shukr was a commander of the Golan Heights, which is an important position in Hezbollah. It's a strategic territory, of course, related to the Syria war, especially, and Russian positions in the Golan, and of course, Israeli-occupied Golan as was a target. So I just wanted to throw that in because that was acknowledged just while we've been on air. But this week, Hezbollah released the third PSYOP, deep PSYOP, psychological operation against the Israelis, publishing drone footage here. I've shortened this up, but this was a 9-minute video of Hezbollah drone footage flying over the Ramat David Air Base in northern Israel. The two previous ones, we saw them for 9.5 minutes flying over Haifa and showing us all of Haifa's important installations. They also flew over the Golan Heights earlier this month, and this one is over the Ramat David Air Base. And as you can see, it's a significant air base. It's codenamed Wing 1. It's the only air base in northern Israel. It's 45 kilometers from the border, halfway between Nazareth and Haifa. It's the only base in the north, and you can see it has serious capabilities. It's got, which includes fighter jets, attack helicopters, transport and rescue helicopters, naval surveillance helicopters, electronic warfare, offensive systems. They're going to show us here flying over, you can see flying over the airfield there. But there's 3 fighter squadrons that are based here. You can see they're showing us hangars. 3 fighter squadrons, an intelligence squadron, a naval surveillance squadron, an electronic warfare squadron, and then a maintenance and support squadron here. You're showing Iron Dome batteries. They know where everything is, ammunition storage. They're not just flying over the base. They're showing us every single, there's the one squadron's command post. They're going to show us all the squadron command posts, all the refuel areas, all the radar domes, all the Iron Dome air defense systems, ammo storage, the squadron commands and maintenance areas for each of the squadrons that are here near the end of the video. You can see their attack helicopters all lined up. So this is the 193rd Squadron, one of the command centers. And here they're showing us who the commanders are. They know the base commanders. They know their previous positions, identified by the Israelis just by calling them Colonel A. But they show exactly where his building is, where his barracks is. They show where the soldiers' barracks are in general. There's the officers' barracks. So they have intelligence beyond just, they're showing command and control, reinforcement base buildings, just really remarkable F-16s, F-16 repair facility, F-15, F-16s, Hermes and Heron drones are here. They're Blackhawk and Apache attack helicopter squadrons. There you can see the helicopters on the ground. So these are targets for Hezbollah. They could wipe these helicopters out with precision-guided missiles. You can see the entire helicopter squadron is just sitting there on the border. And they showed this at the end to show that this had been the day before. So they actually were going on multiple days, which is something that Nasrallah said about the previous 2 PSYOP videos as well, was that they were filmed over multiple days, over many hours. And so this breach of Israeli defense systems is something that covers days, hours, and gets us these long videos that really are peak psychological operations, something that shows the vulnerability of Israel. And after the assassination in the Dahia of 𝐓𝐡𝐞 𝐄𝐥𝐞𝐜, I think there's a lot of people on edge about the regional dynamics of this and what it could portend. And Israel is being shown here by Hezbollah to be extremely vulnerable. Let's look at number 21 here. One of the reasons they are vulnerable is because of 750 anti-tank guided missile strikes, some on tanks and troop carriers, but a lot on, here we're seeing the drone dome, the Raphael system that's supposed to detect drones, being blown up here by a Métis anti-tank guided missile. And that's one of 500 operations against technical gear. If we go to number 22 tomorrow, we can see the anti-tank weapon arsenal. Hezbollah put out this mixtape with all of their anti-tank weapons, and this was a response to when the Israeli Supreme Court last week, we talked about it on the show, maybe 2 weeks ago, said they didn't have enough tanks. The Israeli military spoke to Supreme Court and said they couldn't train the women's tank battalion because they didn't have enough tanks and trainers left to do that. And so this is Nasrallah interacting with the Israeli media and saying, if you come to Lebanon, you won't just have a tank shortage, you'll have no tanks, is what Abu Hadi said. And so we can see here, interacting with the news, Hezbollah interacting with the news the same way that 𝐓𝐡𝐞 interacts with the news. Hezbollah showing us their weapon systems here, and saying you won't have any tanks left. So with this last video, let's do 23 tomorrow, because this is remarkable, because 𝐓𝐡𝐞 sent a message to Hezbollah this week with a mixtape that every single, just a note, it said the tank will, this is Yoav Gallant saying that the tanks that will leave Rafah can go to the Litani, saying that they'll leave Rafah and go and invade Lebanon. And this is a 𝐓𝐡𝐞 video of tanks from Rafah. It was specifically what Gallant was talking about, that these are the tanks from Rafah. So 𝐓𝐡𝐞 said, these are your tanks leaving Rafah. And they say to Hezbollah, we are sure you can complete the mission. And it's interesting to note that every single video in here is from Rafah. Each of the videos, they didn't just put illustrative videos in that showed other battle sites. Those were all tanks from Rafah being destroyed by 𝐓𝐡𝐞. And they sent a message to Hezbollah in that message saying that these are Gallant's armored vehicles leaving Rafah, and we are certain that you will complete the mission. So communications between the fronts, between the West Bank and Gaza, between Gaza and Lebanon, and between Lebanon and Gaza, as we've seen throughout the war. So that's the resistance report for this week. Those three major fronts in Gaza, multiple battles in Gaza, multiple fronts in the West Bank, and everybody's on edge about the northern border with Hezbollah in Lebanon. So just a remarkable week of operations.
Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit like, leave a comment. These engagements help us with the YouTube algorithm, and it helps us to get around Silicon Valley censorship as much as possible. It does make a difference. You can also support our journalism by going to electronicintifada.net and clicking on donate now. Thank you.